Words matter.
Words matter.
Words matter.
Words matter.
These words matter.
Migrant.
Refugees.
A migrant chooses to move country.
Often to improve their life.
For education, work, family reunification.
They are free to return home.
And if they return, they still have the protection of their government.
A refugee is running for their life.
Fleeing war
or persecution.
They often undertake traumatic and treacherous journeys of escape.
In order to find sanctuary.
By land?
By sea.
They can't return home.
It's too dangerous.
But they are entitled to special protection under international law.
Including the right not to be immediately deported and sent back into harm's way.
The bottom line is...
Migrants, refugees, we are all human beings.
We need to treat all human beings, refugee or migrant,
with respect and dignity.
But meanings matter.
Words matter.
Your words matter.
Your words matter.
Your words matter. All of us here are deeply concerned, I believe, about refugees, and we all wonder, what can we do? And I just wanted to mention a few practical things that ordinary citizens can do to help refugees. I don't know if there's any refugees here or former refugees who have their status. Householders with an extra room in their house can give refugees an address. The alternative is that refugees are assigned what's called NAS housing, and usually they're dispersed way up north to some rather inferior housing in a mixed house, and they lose contact with their lawyers or lose access to their lawyers. And they have to live on survival funds of some £35 per week for their food. And I am thinking about 3 cases that just recently we've been able to get addresses for. One of them is a refugee who lives in my house. Because he came to Britain on a visa, which is a long story, and applied for asylum a month later, he isn't getting his £30 or £37 per week, but he gets some food from the NGO here, Asylum Welcome, and I feed him. Another refugee that I know came to Britain, knew nothing about refugee status, hadn't even heard the words, and didn't know that his lifestyle counted as grounds for asylum. And he's been couching it for 15 years. He's been living on different people's couch and paying, I don't know how to describe them negatively enough, paying lawyers to try to help him that didn't know anything about refugee law, until finally another refugee from his country who had finally gotten asylum brought him to Oxford, where he's had another couch in somebody's house that couldn't give him the address, and took him to a lawyer and to me. He now has an address in somebody else's house, a permanent address. And a third case happened to help everybody. She was a woman with her 10-year-old daughter, and as it happened, when she was desperate for housing, I had a friend who had just been diagnosed with dementia. She wasn't ill yet, although she had some moments of disorientation. And so that woman and her 10-year-old child and my friend are living together. They all 3 have addresses, and it's worked out very well for all 3 parties. And you can become a friend of a refugee. Now that sounds pretty casual, everybody could be friendly, but For some refugees who have been here for years and years and years, there is in the law something called Article 8. Could I have a glass of water? Article 8, and it has to do with family life and the right to privacy. So when we went with a woman recently to court, 20 people went to court with her for her asylum claim to the immigration court. And most of these 20 people were her friends and wrote letters so that the judge saw the letters from these friends who say, we want this woman and her daughter to stay in Oxford. They've already made a contribution in the neighborhood, in the school, etc. And that can make a significant difference in a refugee getting asylum or not. You may be able to teach English. I have a case, Amadou, who's been here 16 years. And he came as a 16-year-old child, speaking Fula. The Home Office didn't recognize him as a child, of course. And he's never, ever had a Fula interpreter who spoke the same dialect that he spoke. And so it's only that now, after 16 years, he can speak enough English, he doesn't need an interpreter anymore. So teaching, and he can't write English, but somebody has taken the trouble to teach him to speak. Or you can speak another language that's needed, that isn't readily available in the community. And if you're a former refugee, you obviously probably speak maybe 3 or 4 languages that could be useful. And I don't know what the training of interpreters is like in Oxford, but we on our web, if you go to the page where it says special issues, you'll see, is there somebody that's got a finger? You can see a section at the bottom of the page that tells you about, you can see all the special issues. Hold it just a second. And there you see interpreters and language. And there's a whole lot of stuff about ethics of interpreting, all kinds of things that people should read. Refugee law is not like any other law. It was the first, if you would, human rights convention after the Second World War. It wasn't properly formed in the sense that there's no accountability as far as UNHCR, the organization that's responsible for the convention. But refugee law is different than any other form of law. And people have to study it especially, and there are hardly any law faculties where refugee law is taught. And we have a section on our website that can get you into it and into the training quite painlessly. Lots of films, and I really do believe in films as teaching devices. And if you look at the training page, see it? And open it?
Yeah, just there.
And you'll see lots of films. Some films from America, and a group of films that were made several years ago when Greece was entering the common market, particularly for Greece, but they were made by several refugee councils and by Jim Hathaway and several lawyers. And unfortunately, Greek Refugee Council lost the originals, but Jim Hathaway and I have managed to dig up some old tapes and put them on our web so that there's lots of films that tell you about refugee law. Now, none of us who have not been specially certified can give legal advice. And I'm not suggesting that any of you start giving legal advice. And one of the pains of my work is that refugees tend to believe gossip from other refugees more than they believe us, who know refugee law. But the important thing is that all of you, or any of you, could become caseworkers. There are ways, without being a lawyer, to qualify as a caseworker, so that you can actually provide legal aid and represent refugees, prepare their testimonies, prepare their cases. One of the things that I find that lawyers have a great difficulty doing, maybe anthropologists are just better at it than they, I'm an anthropologist, is taking the testimony of a refugee. And I always have to interview a refugee over again when I act as an expert witness for a country, to actually get the case and find out the facts, because lawyers don't seem to know how to get them. And I don't know if I know how to teach it, but doing proper testimonies is extremely important and fundamental to getting a case through the asylum procedure, which is so complicated, getting more complicated, and less and less money available for the lawyers who are providing legal aid. Thank you.